Top 10 Mystery in the World. 1. Dark matter, the spider's web. Planets, stars, asteroids, galaxies, the things that we can actually see, make up less than 5% of the total universe. Scientists think another 25% is a strange substance called dark matter. We can't see it, we don't understand it, but we're pretty sure it's out there because everything moves to its gravitational tune. Scientists believe that dark matter acts like a spider's web, holding fast-moving galaxies together. And there's so much of this stuff that it bends the appearance of space, so that when astronomers observe distant galaxies, they often appear distorted. We have plenty of evidence that dark matter exists, but as for what it is, that remains a mystery. Some think dark matter is composed of an undiscovered particle or particles, others believe it's an undiscovered property of gravity. Whatever the truth, dark matter is a real puzzle, and it's proved hugely tricky to pin down. To the bog bodies. The bog bodies, or bog people, are the naturally preserved human corpses that were found in the sphagnum bogs in northern Europe. Rather than decomposing, the bog provided the perfect conditions to preserve the bodies, leaving the skin and internal organs relatively intact. The thousands of bodies found can be dated back to the Iron Age, and many reveal signs of being murdered. It is widely believed that the bodies are sacrificial victims of pagan rituals or a form of criminal punishment. However, there is no conclusive evidence as to why the thousands of bodies were dumped, especially since the bodies have been found sporadically throughout Germany, Ireland, Britain, Netherlands, and Denmark. 3. Stonehenge. Stonehenge stands in all its beautiful and enigmatic glory on the Salisbury Plain in Wiltshire, England. The site contains numerous carved blue stones that each weigh 6 tons and are stacked on top of each other. Archaeologists have ascertained that the stone monument dates back to 2500 to 3000 BC and believe that it was erected by Neolithic inhabitants. Stonehenge's purpose and creation still remains one of the most highly debated and greatest mysteries of human history. The theories, thus, are extensive. Some believe it to be a result of glacial movement or a man-made miracle, while others believe it foretells of alien invasion or is a place filled with healing powers. The most commonly accepted theory is that Stonehenge is a burial ground. This was substantiated by archaeological evidence in 2008, when cremated remains around the site matched the estimated date of Stonehenge's creation. 4. Siberian sinkholes. A 115-foot hole was discovered in Siberia's Yamal Peninsula, a name that means end of the world in the language of the area's indigenous inhabitants, after an unexplained explosion in July. 2 other mysterious sinkholes popped up in Russia's north shortly after. Scientists believe gas explosions beneath the surface caused the sinkholes, but they haven't been able to confirm that theory. In November, a team of scientists, a medic and a professional climber plunged into the sinkhole to learn more about it, but the cause of the deep holes is still unknown. 5. Were the Hanging Gardens of Babylon real? Ancient writers describe a fantastic series of gardens constructed at the ancient city of Babylonia in modern-day Iraq. It's not clear when these gardens were built, but some ancient writers were so impressed by the gardens that they called them a wonder of the world. Around 250 BC, Philo of Byzantium wrote that the Hanging Gardens had plants cultivated at a height above ground level, and the roots of the trees are embedded in an upper terrace rather than in the earth. So far, archaeologists who have excavated Babylon have been unable to find the remains of a garden that meets this description. This has left archaeologists with a question: did the Hanging Gardens really exist? In 2013, Stephanie Daly, a researcher at the University of Oxford, proposed in a book that the gardens were actually located at the Assyrian city of Nineveh. Over the past 2 decades, both Babylon and Nineveh have suffered damage from wars and looting, and it seems unlikely that this mystery will ever be fully solved. 6. Where is Cleopatra's tomb? Ancient writers claim that Cleopatra VII and her lover, Mark Antony, were buried together in a tomb after their deaths in 30 BC. The writer Plutarch, AD 45 to 120, wrote that the tomb was located near a temple of Isis, an Egyptian goddess, and was a lofty and beautiful monument containing treasures made of gold, silver, emeralds, pearls, ebony and ivory. The location of the tomb remains a mystery. In 2010, Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former antiquities minister, conducted excavations at a site near Alexandria now called Topos Rismagna, which contains a number of tombs dating to the era when Cleopatra VII ruled Egypt. While many interesting archaeological discoveries were made, Cleopatra VII's tomb was not among them, Hawass reported in a series of news releases. Archaeologists have noted that even if Cleopatra's tomb does survive to this day, it may be heavily plundered and unidentifiable. 7. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's disappearance. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's death is still shrouded in secrecy, and the various conspiracy theories surrounding it make it even more mysterious. What happened after Netaji's flight took off from Taipei to Tokyo? This has been one of the greatest mysteries of free India. A few years after Bose's disappearance, there was speculation that he had returned to India and was living in disguise as a sadhu in North India. Although no such claim could ever be substantiated, the theory resurfaced with the news about Gumnami Baba, a revered saint of Fyzabad in Uttar Pradesh, who many people believe was Bose himself. 8. Cosmic rays, ghostly visitors. Space can be an intense place. But we're totally shielded down here on Earth, aren't we? About that. Cosmic rays are high-energy particles that come from outer space, and regularly bombard Earth. Generally, these particles are completely harmless, our atmosphere kindly protects us. But there are some exceptions. Up high in the stratosphere, cosmic rays can affect both human beings and electronics. Astronauts and aircraft crew are exposed to higher levels of radiation than the average person because of the presence of cosmic rays, although still not enough to be a major risk. But electronics are the real potential victims here. Very rarely, a cosmic ray particle with enough energy can go straight into an electronic system, causing serious damage. The high-energy particles can disrupt electronic data, leading to system crashes. And in an increasingly digital world, that's not good news. We're only just beginning to learn about the potential impact that cosmic rays could have, and the race is on to find a solution. 9. Origin of the universe. You are probably under the impression that we've already solved this one, at least to some extent. And you shouldn't be faulted for thinking that. Perhaps the best-known proposal as to the beginning of the universe is the Big Bang Theory, in which the universe expanded from an extremely hot and dense singularity around 13.8 billion years ago. But this is often misunderstood. Matter didn't simply explode into being from nothing. The Big Bang happened everywhere in the universe simultaneously. It's not an explosion in space but an explosion of space. Yet, the exact process of what caused this, and of course, what was there beforehand, remains unknown. We are inching closer to piecing together the earliest moments of the universe, but its true origin is still a mystery, and any theories or models of creation are incredibly speculative at this point. While we have some idea of the universe when it was only 300,000 years old, scientists are still speculating about the extreme forces at play during the universe's first moments. Like all good mysteries, this seems simple to answer but instead yields more questions that must be solved before we can answer the initial question. To fully understand the creation of our universe, we will need to have a comprehensive understanding of the laws of physics that govern matter and antimatter. This is a bit of a problem though, as the standard model of particle physics doesn't actually account for the majority of the matter that the Big Bang produced. Of course, even if we turn the model on its head and manage to understand the nature of matter and antimatter's interactions, we still won't have a final answer to how the universe came into being. But we will at least be one step closer to understanding it. 10. Is there a city of Atlantis? Writing in the 4th century BC, the Greek philosopher Plato told a story of a land named Atlantis that existed in the Atlantic Ocean and supposedly conquered much of Europe and Africa in prehistoric times. In the story, the prehistoric Athenians strike back against Atlantis in a conflict that ends with Atlantis vanishing beneath the waves. While no serious scholar believes that this story is literally true, some have speculated that the legend could have been inspired, in part, by real events that happened in Greek history. One possibility is that the Minoan civilization, as it's now called, which flourished on the island of Crete until about 1400 BC, could have inspired the story of Atlantis. Although Crete is in the Mediterranean, and not the Atlantic, Minoan settlements suffered considerable damage during the eruption of Thera, a volcano in Greece. Additionally, archaeologists found that the Minoans were eventually overcome, or forced to join with, a group of people called the Mycenaeans, who were based on the mainland Greece. It's unlikely that this debate will ever be fully settled.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to escape the ordinary and comment what you'd like to see next.